evening, welcome to Coffs Harbour. A wet and windy evening or late afternoon for this Tuesday round 6 action. It's the Rabbitohs away but at home to the Raiders. Jack O'Neill, breaking news, Jai Collins, a possible broken arm in the warm-up to this game. He looks like he has ran out with the squad. But that was late news just coming through, so we'll have to wait and see how he performs tonight.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Is it mind games from South Sydney leaking that information, or is it a legitimate injury? We'll find out. In the first even 5 minutes of this game, it's going to be interesting to see how Canberra play given this new information. This is a massive game. Canberra, they're still in the finals hunt, but they need to win tonight to keep those hopes alive. As for South Sydney, they can just about lock up a finals berth if they win tonight. So a lot on the line for both teams in the Jack O'Neill Cup.
So it's the Rabbitohs with first hands on the ball. And you're right, Jack, a win here tonight for the Rabbitohs would solidify their spot in the Season 3 finals, while the Raiders, a loss tonight would make it very difficult going forward. It's the Warriors to take on the Sea Eagles next week, which will be a tough game for them. So it's not all lost, but either way, both sides will want to come away with the dominant win here in the rain tonight. It's Edwards and the Rabbitohs make their way down the field on this opening set of the game. It's the Raiders who have never beaten the Rabbitohs in 3 separate occasions, twice during the SRL normal, once during pre-season. Both sides, or all 3 times, the Rabbitohs running away winners in those games. The Raiders looking to change that here tonight as Iron gets an early touch on the ball and gets a penalty as well. It was Isaac Edwards who gave away a penalty holding down in the tackle. And Jack O'Neill, who will find the sideline around about 25, 26 metres out.
Yeah, bad discipline there from South Sydney, but good early start from Mark Iron. Showed some really good footwork, so hopefully he can keep that up for the remainder of the game. He's under a bit of pressure at the moment, hasn't quite been able to hit the heights he did last season, but he's got a good opportunity to play some good footy as he makes another strong one and breaks straight through.
Iron into the Rabbitohs 10. That's his second. Making an impact at the moment as Tim James gets his first touch in Raiders colours. Making that switch during the week with Sam Atchison from the Eels. Thompson into the 10, about 8 metres out here. The Raiders numbers both ways. They go to Fe'u, Tarangaho, who powers it forward, only 2 metres short. So final tackle, first opportunity for the Raiders to put it high. They don't put it high. O'Neill goes to Malchus along the ground, and the big Queensland captain charges over the line, but the referee says held up.
With desperation from South, they got under Luke Malchus really well there. Probably not the best kick from O'Neill, but it almost came up with rewards. He loves that short kick.
2 hands away. Held.
There's Mendonca. That's a hospital pass to Tallis Rife. The big tackle by Morrison. This time it's Slattery.
He's held there. 1.
Announcing during the week that he will be leaving the Rabbitohs. Yet to be announced where he will be moving to, but a great servant to South Sydney, Rex Slattery, spending his opening 2 seasons of his career in Redfern. He won't be the only player looking to up their contracts in the SRL in the off-season.
Good defensive cutlet there from Jacob Morrison.
So Collins at dummy half. That arm looks to be okay. It's heavily bandaged at the moment. They send the ball over to Dom Toretto, who had a breakout game last week. Close to the sideline, wrestling with Ryan.
He's tackle 1.
Does well to force his way back in field. Mention had probably his best performance in a Raiders jumper last week. Dom Toretto ran for 151 metres. 4 line breaks included in that. Not a bad performance from a rookie as O'Neill looks for Luke Malchus, who just throws his hands up in the air thinking he's not going to get past the ball and puts it down. So a mistake from the Raiders there in the wet. O'Neill looking to go backdoor, possibly to Jacob Morrison, but it was Malchus getting in the way.
Yeah, not a good result from Canberra. Really poor stuff, not enough cohesion there by 2 senior players in Malchus and O'Neill. And now the Rabbitohs, they've got a prime opportunity to post early points.
12 metres out, numbers to the left, they come left as Dranigan decides to cut back inside and tests out that defensive Mark Iron. They go right this time to Mason Remy, the big boys getting hands on the ball as Remy goes close to the line. Has he got himself over? No, referee Rasmussen says held up. Good defence on him by Taringa Hofe'u. As they restart and come left, Slattery shuts off one, which was Malchus. Can't get past the second. Still 2 metres out. Final tackle. Crutcher will go high. Out to the wing of a skipper. Collins, but it's Corey Bell who gets up well. That battle tonight is going to be a big one. Bell versus Collins. And Bell wins the first exchange.
Yeah, we know there's a lot of animosity between those two, but he gets the first points in this clash. I'll tell you what, that was some pretty soft defence from the Raiders middle. Fitu got onto the ball there, there wasn't much in it. Good run here from Morrison, now gives it away to Tim James, and Tim James is away, so the Raiders now with a good counter-attack.
Morrison finding James in support, not a bad support run from the new Raiders number 9, looking to get a quick play the ball as well. As he goes to O'Neill, shovels it to Iron, almost getting away from Aaron O'Hare, who just clings on to Mark Iron's shirt. Thompson to kick, not a bad kick either, just sort of punching it down to the wing of Collins, who shicks his way through the first line of defence and gets out beyond the Rabbitohs 30 and gets a penalty.
Poor discipline from Mark Iron.
Penalties from both sides in this opening 10 or so minutes of the game. The rain continues to come down heavily. We talked earlier on about Mount Smart Stadium having a little bit of dew on the ground. Well, you can actually see, looking to the left, a few puddles starting to gather down that southern end of the field, Jack.
Yeah, definitely. These are not good conditions for rugby league. It's really important that both teams play disciplined footy and hold the ball, kick well. That's how you win in these types of conditions. And at the moment, both sides are sort of struggling to do that, as that's a really good late offload there from South Sydney, and they're on the attack again.
Jason Laumu with the offload throw here. They go flat to Remy from the base of the ruck. Powering forward, using that leg drive to get up to the Raiders 10 as they go through the hands. It's Edwards to put it high. Testing kick with Cutler coming down with it. It was Iron waiting underneath the high, towering kick. And Jackson Cutler came down with it, but a good decision by Mark Iron. It's a mistake from the Raiders inside their own line. Dranigan powering towards the line. Drake Dranigan thinks he's got it down, but referee Rasmussen thinks something else. The Rabbitohs restart from the 10. Big defence from the Raiders. That's Thompson rushing out of the line on Crutcher. 8 metres out, short side. Cutler wide to Collins. And the skipper goes into the inside corner. We're going to go upstairs. A possible forward pass. Don't know if the bunker can rule on that. But we're going up anyway. Did Jai Collins' broken left arm touch the try line? No, it didn't. Try. The Rabbitohs open the scoring here at Coffs Harbour.
Yeah, it was really good ball work down the left-hand side by the Rabbitohs. They didn't have the numbers, but it was Corey Bell jamming in off his wing. He didn't need to do that. Left a lot of space there for Collins to cruise in for the first try of the night to South Sydney. This is a tough kick for Ash Crutcher, but it's a very valuable one if he can get it through the uprights.
Can't convert this time, but you're right. Corey Bell just jamming in on Jackson Cutler, who had quick hands, finding his skipper tiptoeing down that left-hand touch line. I think Bell probably thought that Collins won't get the ball because of that injury, that breaking news, that injury that came out just during the warm-up. But to be fair, Collins looks fine to me.
Yeah, definitely. I think it might have been a bit of mind games from the South Sydney coaching staff.
So it's the Rabbitohs who open the scoring. 15.5 minutes gone in this one. Game 2, Tuesday night action in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. Live on your home of Sim Rugby League, SRL TV. Reminder, 2 massive games of SRL tomorrow night. It's a top of the table clash. The Manly Sea Eagles taking on the North Queensland Cowboys from Brookvale Oval. And we go straight down from the top of the table all the way to the bottom of the table. It's the Panthers and the Eels going head-to-head for the final game of round 6 action. And I'll tell you what, both teams, the Panthers and the Eels, even though they may be out of finals contention, neither of them will want that wooden spoon, will they, Jack?
No, no way. That's such a bad blemish on the club, especially with recruitment now beginning. Retention is opening very soon, and then they'll look to recruit some Mines players as well as players from other clubs. And it's not appealing at all to be in that wooden spoon position. So it's a really important game for both sides. I think there's going to be a lot of desperation. I think we're going to see a really tight Wednesday night footy from both games.
It's the Sea Eagles who are on a 5-match winning streak so far this season. Cowboys are on a 3-match winning streak. And then you look at the Eels on a 2-match losing streak, and the Panthers on a 5-match losing streak. So one of those teams up the top is going to win and lose, and or get their first loss, and one of those teams down the bottom is going to get their first win. So
I think Parramatta have had 1 win this season, but essentially both teams have played quite poorly this season. They haven't got the results, so I can see a lot of a really entertaining night, because I think there's going to be a lot of desperation, as I said. That top of the table clash is the one I'm really looking forward to, because we've seen the Cowboys struggle a little bit in recent weeks, if I'm honest. That's a big kick. What a play. Collins gives it away to Remy. What footy.
What a kick from Crutcher. A crossfield kick to Jai Collins. And we haven't seen that very often, as Collins looks to get the kick away. Does well under immense pressure. Down to the wing of Toretto. And Ryan has to get across quickly. Toretto was almost away there, but what a combination. Crutcher and Collins at cuffs.
That was absolutely incredible footy.
Definitely starting to set things alight here in front of their home crowd. Not a huge crowd here this evening. Obviously the rain has probably put a little bit of dampener on a lot of people wanting to come down and watch the game live. You see, looking down to my left, quite a few seats available on that left embankment. And then up to the right, a little bit more covered down there, so a bit of a bigger crowd as O'Neill goes to Thompson. Again to the wing of Collins on the final. Bit of chase this time. It's Jacob Morrison wraps up the Rabbitohs skipper. The Rabbitohs will be forced to bring it out from inside their own 30.
He's held there. 2 hands away.
The Rabbitohs have really been in top on this game. They're playing a lot better style of footy, especially in these conditions. They're still throwing it around, which is really good to see. Their error rate is low. I think Canberra really need to change something up at the moment, because South, they're just, even though it's only that 4-0 scoreline at the moment, South definitely look the better team as they go down the blind side. Laumu goes straight through, puts on some good footwork. South Sydney can put on an attacking kick now.
One of the best buys of the season, Jason Laumu, has been performing a top performer each week for the South Sydney side. O'Shea O'Leary has made his way onto the park. Looks to have slotted into the front row along with Cameron Relentless. Where do you see Cameron Relentless playing his rugby league next season? Jack. I mean, I'm sure he's probably signed up to stay at South Sydney for season 4, but you know, it's his 3rd season in the competition. He's still finding himself on the bench. As we see O'Neill trying to force a kick, and Ryan going awfully close to the sideline, doing well to stay in the field of play in the wet conditions. But where do you see Relentless playing, Jack?
Yeah, look, I think Relentless is an interesting one. He was with us at Canberra last year, and he played some okay footy, mainly as a bench forward. I think he probably prop is his best position. He just needs a consistent run there, and unfortunately he hasn't quite got it. He's been chopped and changed a fair bit. Left the Warriors earlier in the season, so you know, I think a bit of consistency will definitely help him. As Ash Crutcher with the early kick, taken well by Mark Iron. The Raiders now, they've got a bit of field position, so hopefully that they need to build some pressure now. Fitu goes straight down the middle, that'll help. They need to get themselves into some good field position. But back on Relentless, like I said, I think he hasn't quite had a consistent run in that front row, which has made it tough for him. He's been chopped and changed a little bit. I think that the front row is his best position, though.
Iron hovering on the inside of that ball from Fitu, still trying to find Iron back on a few gaps as he's continuing to test that inside defence of the Rabbitohs. O'Neill to put it high. That's a better kick from O'Neill. Coming through, Ben Arnold. Arnold charging over the line, and the young rookie prop. The Rabbitohs look to have got their hands underneath the ball. At the last second, it was Dranigan and Jake Tuss, or it could have been Mason Remy, getting their hands underneath the ball at the last second. But Ben Arnold charging through off the bench for the Raiders.
Yeah, it was a great kick from O'Neill, probably one of his better kicks of the season. Great bat back from Mark Iron. Maybe could have dropped down and scored it himself, but so close for Ben Arnold, who has been a really consistent performer for Canberra this season, but good defence from South Sydney, and they're on the attack now. Flimsy defence from the Raiders after getting so close to points, and all of a sudden all the pressure's back on them after a really good set.
It's Crutcher to put it high, not a high kick at all actually, as Ryan charges through, contesting with Iron. Ryan comes away with it, but so many Raiders defence around him. As we see Te'ua hitting a big tackle by Dranigan. How important do you think, Jack, when creating a player in the SRL, that you create a player with a realistic body type? You know, we're talking about Cameron Relentless, how he finding himself on the bench as a prop. He's probably the smallest player in the SRL. You know, we've got quite a few new Mines players, you know, joining up recently. How important is that player build, in your opinion?
Yeah, look, I think shocking pass. Far out. I think it is important, you know, to have that sort of realistic build. It definitely helps, you know, scouting and finding a team. I think team captains want, as that's huge defence for Morrison. Good stuff.
So Morrison and Fitu.
But it's important. Captains want to see a team built for footy, which definitely helps. But you know, it also does just help your build in. For example, forward you mentioned, Cameron Relentless. Of course, there's not much of him, so you know, maybe he does get dominated a little bit easier in the middle, which makes it hesitant to start him, you know, for those early exchanges where everyone's fresh. Georgie McGuinnesskin's another example for Canberra. He's a pretty short dude, and he holds his own pretty well defensively. I'm not sure how important it is. We've got Jai McCartney, of course. He's got his beer gut as well, and he still can play 80 minutes without many issues. So I'm not sure how relevant exactly it is. It's the Rabbitohs. They're going so close to the line. Can they score? Out they're in.
Off a possible error, a charge down the Raiders going for it. Referee Perinara says no try. We're going to go upstairs, but it looks as though it's going to be a try to, was it Drake Dranigan?
Yeah, it was. It was Drake Dranigan, the young fella from South Sydney. He's had a great start to the season. Liam Ryan predicted he'll be a top 3 second rower by the end of the year. I pushed back on it, but he's playing a good game so far. South Sydney, they're really starting to roll down there. They could put a score on here unless the Raiders change something quickly, because at the moment, they are not playing well at all. They are playing disjointed, and there isn't much effort at times defensively as well.
First try for Drake Dranigan, albeit coming from a little bit of, coming off an error, but you know, a little bit of mucky play from the Raiders at the back. Converted by Crutcher, 10 points to 0. 33 minutes gone here at Coffs Harbour. The rain continues to come down.
It just hasn't been a good performance from Canberra. You know, they got themselves in such a good position earlier on in the, I'd say about 5 minutes ago. You know, you look, Jack O'Neill put up that big bomb. Mark Iron batted it back to Ben Arnold, and they almost scored. South's going to play the ball on the 20, and I think they made about 20 metres off of that first run. They roll back downfield. They're under pressure again. Canberra have had no ball down here, and it's their own doing. Jack O'Neill threw a stupid cutout pass from his own half that was forward and to no one. They're just letting themselves down at the moment, Canberra. They're their own worst enemies. And South Sydney are playing a really good style of game as again Corey Bell gets caught out, jamming in off the right wing. And Jai Collins tiptoes down the sideline. They're just missing their assignment defensively at the moment. That's what's really letting them down.
Collins is definitely winning that battle of that left-hand side. Collins versus Bell. It's definitely 2-0 to Collins at the moment as we see Bell try to fire back. Just as I say that, a good return from Corey Bell. Luke Thompson on his inside. Had Jack O'Neill calling for it as well. Decides to take it down just inside the Rabbitohs 30. So the Raiders hoping to strike back with just over 4 minutes until half-time. Good field position through the hands to Iron. He's met well hard by Ash Crutcher. So still about 15 metres out. Couple of tackles in hand as Thompson decides to take on the line.
Get back, look at me.
Tim James at dummy half. Iron gets the inside pass from Morrison. Still the Raiders not really making enough. On defence, still 12 metres out, final tackles, Fe'u on the toe, picked up by Olay. Little bit of confusion for a moment by the Rabbitohs, but Olay picks it up. And the Raiders, their chase is just not getting onto that one fast enough.
No, it was a poor chase. They needed to get there earlier. It would have been a try for sure. A lot's going South's way, a lot of luck. You saw that Jack O'Neill 40-20 attempt. Liam Ryan somehow stayed in. But the Rabbitohs are just playing a much better game of footy at the moment. But they've got to muscle up defensively now, Canberra. They cannot let the Rabbitohs get them running on them in the end of this second half. They can possibly put on one more attacking raid on Souths, but they need to make good yardage in the next 3 carries.
Toretto with the kick return now. A couple of players warming up on the sideline. Looks like Wally Allen and Sonny Tyre are set to come on at some stage, possibly in the second half. You can see Sonny Tyre just doing a few stretches down below us. And looking down to the Rabbitohs side, Jake Tuss still sitting down at the moment. Dawson Swarm doing a few shuttles on the sideline. So possible some interchanges coming on at half-time, and we'll have to see if that has an impact on the game. It's the Raiders still looking for their first points of the game, just outside the 20. They'll play the ball. It's Caval, the skipper, on the final. O'Neill decides to run it. Gone into the tackle of Aaron O'Hare. Mason Remy comes across and again cut down in that final tackle option.
Not the play. Needed to kick that ball or give it to Fe'u.
Not the play the Raiders would have been hoping for as it's half-time here. 10 points to 0. Second half action set to get underway here at Coffs Harbour International Stadium. The Rabbitohs home game for round 6 in the Simulation Rugby League. Leading 10 points to 0 at the break. It's Ash Crutcher to get the second half underway. And Jack, an eventful first 40 minutes, but it's the Raiders who are struggling to get any sort of ascendancy and make their way into the Rabbitohs half. What were the coaches saying at half time?
Yeah, Rahul Kaval was not a happy man. He said even though they're 10-0 down, they could be a lot more down, and they've gotten lucky that some of their scramble defence has been pretty good in this game, but he said that their ball work has not been strong. Their kicking needs to improve as well, but he also was really unhappy with their defence in the middle. He says that really needs to improve if they're going to come back in this second half. As for the Rabbitohs, they were pleased with the start, but one thing that Jai Collins really specified to Ash Crutcher and Isaac Edwards is that their end of sets need to improve so they can keep the pressure on Canberra and not let them make good yardage and make a comeback in this second half.
It's the kicking game of both sides that definitely needs to be improved in the second 40 minutes. No doubt the rain is having an impact on both sides. The ball is extremely slippery out there. We were out there at half time, weren't we, Jack? Having a bit of a walk up and down the sideline, didn't make our way onto the field, but is extremely wet down on the field. The caretaker has done a pretty good job to get Coffs Harbour up to SRL standards, obviously not being the usual ground for South Sydney, but nonetheless there is a lot of water on that pitch as Toretto will return it for the Raiders. Ryan looks to be covering him. If Toretto can find his outside man, there's a lot of Raiders supporters with him. Good return from Dom Toretto. He's playing it well again, once again tonight, as Fetu gets the short ball and just straightens it up right out in front of the post, 15 metres out. They go to Malchus, charging once again, straight towards the line inside the 10. Good quick play the ball for Tim. They go to Fetu. James goes wide this time to Wally Allen. Just come on the park, Wally Allen. Taken down only inches short by Mason Remy. So final tackle now. Good opportunity for the Raiders. O'Neill gets it away. It's a good chase as well. Coming through Jacob Morrison. And it's good defence from the Rabbitohs. It looked as though it was Logan Guys. Forces Morrison back into the field of play. As the Rabbitohs this time make a mistake in the wet. Mason Remy, hands made of soap.
Look, they got lucky there, the Raiders. That was not a good set. Toretto made a good run, then they took 3 settlers. And Taya goes through.
Sonny Taya just come on the park. His first touch scores up the back of the scrum. And under the post, Sonny Taya, welcome back to the SRL.
Great result for Canberra. I was just absolutely savaging their attack. I thought it was really lackluster. I thought the forwards got the ball too much, but Sonny Taya with an absolutely beautiful individual effort there. Good footwork. He seems to be playing that fullback role with Mark Iron shifting to the bench, and he gets the Raiders on the board early. Exactly what they needed.
You're right, Jack. Sonny Taya looks to have come on at the fullback position, and Wally Allen has come on at the second row. Conversion successful by Luke Thompson. And Canberra get on the board. Back to a 4-point game here at Coffs Harbour.
Really important couple minutes coming up for both sides. Souths, they were really controlling in that first half, but have just let the foot off the pedal a little bit in this second half, and Canberra have already found points. So they've got to muscle up defensively in this set, put some kick pressure on, and get back to their natural game.
Rabbitohs will be looking for Liam Ryan to get his hands on the ball a little bit more in the second half. Didn't have the busiest of first 40 minutes. Jason Ramu, obviously a destructive runner of the ball in that back line as well for South Sydney. There's a mistake there from Rahul Kaval, or it could have been Tarangaho Fetu, coughing up the ball in the wet inside their own half, the Raiders, so not the way they would have wanted to start straight after that Sonny Taya try. as Slattery finds his front row partner and Mason Remy. They stay right, Crutcher to Tallis Rife. That's the hands free, taken down to Gutea. Quick play the ball as well as Edwards goes to his halves partner. Forced back and a good tackle by Luke Thompson. He's slow up to his feet as well. Final tackle, Swarm on the toe. Liam Ryan charging through. Malchus to tackle. Could have been Jordan Lewis as well, but good defence scrambling from the Raiders, and they survive after that mistake.
Yeah, it was good defence from Canberra in that set. Of course, I talked a little bit about Rahal Kaval being unhappy with their defence in the first half. They stood up defensively there. Really important set coming up now as they work their way out of their own half, which they did for most of the first half. It's a good first charge from Wally Allen. I think that's his first touch of the second of the game, his entire game. I'm sorry.
Fresh off the bench, fresh legs with Wally Allen slotting into that second row. Sabbath Ta'ua still on his feet, hoping to come back on at some stage. Meanwhile, for the Rabbitohs, looks as though Jake Tuss has got off the seat and he's on the field, announcing his retirement from the SRL just a couple of weeks ago, and one of a handful of players who will see season 3 as their last season in the SRL. But wasn't it, Jack, wasn't it great over the week on Monday night to see 36 players make their debut in the SRL Nines? And this just opens up so many possibilities for captains and players to bring in some new blood for season 4.
Yeah, for sure. As a member of the Raiders leadership group, we've had a look at a lot of Mines players. I can confirm Sonny Tyre makes another good run. I think the Mines is such a great platform for these young players here. You know, the SRL might just be a bit too high of a step for them to be able to show what they can do, so they go against players at similar skill levels to themselves, and you know, they get to show off a little bit more of their skills and their potential, and you know, get on the radar of all 8 SRL clubs. Really good option for a lot of our rebuilding clubs too. You know, Penrith obviously going to go through a rebuild. Parramatta are going to have a huge roster overhaul. It's going to be really interesting to see which Mines players really make an impact and really make a name for themselves.
Malchus charging up the middle. O'Neill tries to get the ball away, can't do it, and it's Rife who charges downfield after that. Jack O'Neill not quite able to get the boot to ball in time. That defence rushed up early and put a lot of pressure on the veteran 5'8".
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if he wasn't good looking, I'd be a lot more angry with him for that play. But really bad result for Canberra. They were just starting to make inroads again, but again, it's stupid errors. It seems to be just the story of their season. They just make silly errors and it just lets them down big time.
Good offload from Slattery, finds Edwards on the outside. The Rabbitohs go short side. Laumu.
Oh, good
Dangerous
defense.
ball in hand. It's Toretto who chops back on the inside and takes him down. Had to be made as well. Tuss decides to kick towards the end goal. Good take by Sonny Tyre. He's played good so far in this first 15 minutes of the second half, Sonny Tyre.
Yeah, look, if Sonny can keep this up, he may have just found himself a home for next week. And then in that fullback jersey, he's made a huge impact so far in this game. He stood up defensively and with the ball in hand as well. Another strong set for South Sydney, but it was that tackle on Laumu that I think really set the tone for the rest of the set. That's a big injury for Fi'u. I think he's injured his shoulder here.
So Rangaho Fi'u has pulled up lame and he's clutching that left shoulder. And so it's a big injury for the Raiders, number 13, one of the experienced campaigners in their side. And Jack, how will that affect the continuity in that Raiders forward pack?
Fi'u is everything to the Raiders. His ball playing in the middle is so great, but it's his defence that really shines for Canberra. He really plugs up a lot of defensive holes in a really inexperienced forward pack. So now guys like Jordan Lewis, who are new to the SRL, as Tim James, I think he spilt that one. Oh, unlucky. It was a good run, but he couldn't find a kick there. But just back on Fi'u, You know, it's such an inexperienced forward pack. To lose a leader like that is a really big blow for the Canberra Raiders. As Tass gets an offside penalty, I think they must have broke from the scrum too early, the Raiders, and South can march forward now downfield.
Yeah, what we are in for a massive final 20 minutes of this game. Neither side really getting any sort of form of dominance over the other.
He's held there. One, release.
But with that injury to Tarangaho Whiti, you're right, Jordan Lewis is one player that really needs to step up in this last 20 minutes. Looks like Wally Allen might have slipped back into that number 13 jumper. Maybe Jonty McGuinness can back on the park as well. We'll have to wait and see what the makeup is at the next scrum as Madonka cuts through the middle. Jack O'Neill with a good try-saving tackle. If he didn't make that, Madonka would have been gone. Tuss to Rife, the big rookie, threatening the line once again. Final tackle, O'Hare, Tuss on the toe once again. Jake Tuss has crossed. He's chased down his own kick, and that's disappointing defence from the Raiders.
What were the Raiders doing? You talk about Whiti and how good he is in the middle, but Mark Iron just gets caught ball watching. Maybe a bit of confusion with Tyre, given that Tyre is at fullback and Mark's come back on. Maybe to play that middle role that Whiti has been lost at, but that is just not good enough. They needed to take that kick. But South Sydney, they've stamped their authority back on this game. They have control, and they can manage their way home from here and put an end to the Raiders' finals hopes.
16 points to 6. Ash Crutcher makes it 2 from 3 here tonight. Good run from Thomas Mendonca down that right edge that really opened it up, and I think the Raiders' defence started to panic when they saw Jake Tuss hovering up on his inside, but Mendonca held on to it. And it was just an easy little rubber kick through for the big lock forward. And I think you're right, with Tarangaho Whiti and his leadership experience not there for the Raiders. Their defensive line, I think Mark Iron in particular, was left a little bit stranded.
Hands away.
Looks as though Mark Iron may in fact have slipped into that number 13 role.
Get off him.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. I'm not sure how he will go defensively. He's made a couple of good tackles in this set, but he'll definitely provide some impact in the middle, as I think that was him involved in that tackle. Another penalty for South Sydney, held in tackle this time. The discipline of Canberra has not been good enough tonight.
4 metres as Crutcher finds a sideline. So 60 minutes ticks over on the SRL clock.
That's one. Move.
Simulation Rugby League Premiership nearing the end of season 3 with finals footy on the horizon.
That's your second.
2 teams here tonight who have finals footy dreams. The Raiders obviously making their first appearance last year, losing to the Rabbitohs in semi-final number 1. Looking to back it up in season 3. As the Rabbitohs, Tuss on the inside finds Ryan, but that ball's gone forward. Referee Rasmussen on hand to make a good call there, and the Raiders survive that one. Yes, Mark Iron has slotted into the number 13 jumper off the back of the scrum.
He's held there. One, release.
Yeah, I'm a bit... The Raiders, they've still got a chance, but they need to score in the next 5 minutes, in my opinion, or at least build some pressure. They need a really good kick at the end of this set and some good yardage from the Raiders forwards, and also their outside backs will come in and do a bit of work as well.
That's tackle 4, hands off.
They decide to kick early off the boot of O'Neill. Searching for the 40-20, can't quite get the angle right. The Raiders are kicking into quite the considerable breeze in the second half, so it was always going to be a difficult kick for O'Neill. He's also deep within this 40 as well, so
that's your second.
Raiders possibly just looking to force the ball deep into South Sydney's territory and just try and force an error. But the Rabbitohs seem to be finding gaps in the Raiders' defence. At ease at the moment, it's Logan Guys, the two-try hero from last week. Sets that one up nicely as Ryan decides to go short side, almost getting away from the tackle of Luke Thompson, who's called offside, almost gets involved in an offside position. It's Guys once again charging into the 10. The Rabbitohs looking to finish it off. Final tackle, Crutcher going high, testing kick in the wing of Collins, looking for support play. Dawson Swarm can't get the hands free, and the Raiders survive once again.
Yeah, good defence from the Raiders, but the South Sydney looked dangerous in that last set. Again, the Raiders just have to work it out of their own half. It's been the story of the majority of this game. They haven't been able to play any real fluent footy. They've been on the back foot for the majority of this game, mostly because of their own doing, unfortunately. This game isn't over yet, as I said, but they need to find some points. They need to find them fast.
Get back, look at me.
You said it right there, Jack. This has been a defensive effort from the Raiders, although they are behind. As Morrison looks for the 40-20. Jacob Morrison, he's nailed it.
What a kick from Morrison. Just what they needed. They need to find points now. They need to throw everything they can at South Sydney in this set.
So Iron will set it up. 5 metres out. They go to Wally Allen to the left. He'll take it into contact. Tackle 2 is James at dummy half still. The Sonny Tyre, and Sonny Tyre gets around the tackle of Jake Tuss, and 2 tries in the second half for Sonny Tyre.
Sonny Tyre, what an impact he has made.
Off the bench after being an SRL wilderness, it seems, for the past couple of months. He has ignited his career, and the Raiders are back in it here at Coffs Harbour.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sonny Tyre has been classed as inactive, but he is having a huge impact on this game. Of course, Mark Iron is under a lot of pressure to keep that Raiders fullback jersey. Maybe Sonny starts there next week. He has put his name forward. That is for sure. You know, I think they'll be really disappointed, Canberra, that they let in that silly try off the grabber for South Sydney, because they'd be ahead now, but, you know, that it's all off the back of Jacob Morrison with that 40-20. What a play from the centre. You know, Jack O'Neill and Luke Thompson, they've been kicking okay tonight. Definitely a better kicking performance than they've had in previous weeks. But he just put his hand up and said, "It's all right, boys, I'll take this one." And what a kick it was, as Ben Arnold makes a strong break downfield now. Canberra aren't done with yet, but they need to find something again.
They need to find some territory. That's been the thing they've been struggling with pretty much all game. They've been playing a lot of their footy down their own end of the field. And you're right, that Jacob Morrison 40-20 was straight away resulting to a try to Sonny Tyre. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, just like Jake Tuss, this will be his last season in the SRL. Obviously starting with the Melbourne Storm back in season 1. Moving to the Cowboys in season 2. And then the Raiders in season 3.
That's one. Move.
It's a good tackle on Liam Ryan there. He was at the Panthers. Yeah, sorry, I took a while to clock that as well. But it's good defence on Liam Ryan, but they need to have a really strong defensive set here, Canberra, or, you know, this game could be over. If South Sydney could find territory again, and they're in a lot of trouble. They defend well on Liam Ryan. Again, that's Tim James this time.
Back with me.
Sabbath Ta'ua frustrated with himself there as he slipped over. He's trying to make the tackle on. It was Liam Ryan. He retreats back and makes that tackle there. So you can tell that Canberra still putting all the effort as they can. Just that reaction. We saw some Sabbath Ta'ua. O'Neill with a good tackle around the ankles. Tackle find
Liam Ryan
to the wing of Corey Bell.
Sorry about that, Commission. That was his third run of the set. That was a big set for Liam Ryan. He really carried South there. Morrison, a bit of deception out of dummy half. That last run from Ryan is what it took for South Sydney to get into good field position. And now, yet again, the Raiders rucking it out.
3 hands away.
Well off the ruck at the moment. It's Morrison to play the ball. 8 minutes remaining here at Coffs Harbour. It's the Rabbitohs holding a 4-point lead at the moment. Iron cut out past the tyre. I thought for a moment they're going to go for a kick.
Hill. Of him now.
A 40-20 would have been nice if they could have just been up the field just ever so slightly. O'Neill gets a good kick away, straight down the throat of Thomas Mendonca, and it's a good chase by, looks like Dominic Toretto and Jacob Morrison, or Alex Chen, sorry.
Yeah, it was a pretty good chase from Canberra, but South Sydney, they are in prime field position to dominate the rest of this game if they can put a good kick in at the end of this set. Unfortunately, it's just been field position that has been the difference in this game, in my opinion. But it's been South Sydney's ball movement. They move the ball around so often and just tired the Raiders out. They've had to turn around, they've had to do a lot of movement because the Raiders have been so conservative, one off the ruck, especially in that last set. You know, the game's on the line, move the ball around a little bit. It's just one off running, and South ate that for breakfast.
38-metre gain.
Good take
for the Rabbitohs on that set. Toretto does well, but it's the outside chase for the Rabbitohs, putting pressure on the young rookie. Can't get away from them, and this time it's Allen again, wrapped up well.
Let him go, let him go.
They stay short side as O'Neill finds Tu'ua, juggles it for a second.
He's held there. Let him up.
Good ball control in the wet from Sabbath Tu'ua. O'Neill hands on the ball a lot at the moment. Iron. Do they kick now, the Raiders? Go for that 40-20. It does O'Neill going for the corner. Into the wind. Can't get the angle right. It's Ryan who collects it.
He's held there.
The Raiders players up on their feet on the sideline. 4 minutes remaining here at Coffs Harbour. The Rabbitohs clinging on to this one, 16 points to 12. A big hit on
shot.
Logan Guys. Hit on that one as well. Raiders fired up. They'll possibly get 2 more sets
He's held there. Of him now.
with the ball. This kick return will be a big one.
No. It's a big
Tuss
run
goes
from
through the
Tuss.
middle. It's a big run by Jake Tuss. This will
Really
be a
gets
good
rid of that kick
They'll go
return.
to Crutcher. Crutcher will put it high. Testing kick for Morrison. Coming down is Jai Collins. The Raiders defence swarm on him. And it's a handover. The Raiders are needing to go 95 metres with 2.5 minutes remaining.
It was that run from Jake Tuss that really got South Sydney out of trouble there. Minimised the, I guess, the ability for a kick return. We know how dangerous they are in the SRL, and Collins almost found himself with a try. But like you said, they've got to go a long way to win this game. Alex Chen got absolutely smashed there in that tackle. Good low tackle, driving him back. Taya to dummy half. O'Neill long. Tim James taking this run.
40-20. They have to go for a 40-20, surely. They're not really setting up for it, though.
Thompson. No.
Iron through the middle.
Iron.
Mark Iron, inside support player was Tim James. Final tackle now. The Raiders need to get a good kick away. Put an error on the Rabbitohs as Crutcher comes away with it. James trying to rip it out from Crutcher's hand one-on-one. Can't do so. The Rabbitohs holding on at home at the moment. Dranigan taken down the good tackle. 20 seconds remaining. Tuss goes to Guys. Hot potato pass from Logan Guys. Didn't need to be thrown. Final play now. The Rabbitohs throw it around and the siren sounds. They will get the 2 points at home, beating the Raiders 16 points to 12. What a game we've seen. The Raiders just not quite having enough space at the end to fight back.
Yeah, it was a good performance from South Sydney overall. The Raiders will be very disappointed. But South Sydney, one thing that was underrated in that game was just how dominant they were with their kicking. It kept Canberra in their own end, and it was a possession battle for sure. South Sydney, 64% possession. They were dominant, and they had a really good display, I thought.
Completion rates and errors. I guess that's the big talking point. Completions for the Raiders, 19 of 25. 10 errors for the Raiders. Obviously wet conditions, but only three errors for the Rabbitohs. You know, that's one of the big factors you have to say within those stats there. And as we go to the Rabbitohs line up some big minutes again from some of their main leadership players. Liam Ryan, 217 metres, 8 line breaks. Drake Dranigan, another big performance from the young rookie. And Logan Guys as well. And then switching over to the Raiders. Big metres from Tim James on debut. Dom Toretto again looking very good in that number 2 jersey for Canberra. And I think Sonny Tyre played pretty well in that second 40 as well. But Jack, sorry, any players in particular that either stood out or maybe needed to lift their game a little bit higher?
Yeah, there's a couple players who fit both categories. I think the Raiders, they just let themselves down with silly errors. 3 errors by Jack O'Neill, not good enough by a senior player. Penalties, the penalties were really killer. You know, you can handle handling errors, but they gave away 4 penalties, I think it was, which is just not good enough. 6 handling errors and 4 penalties. They gave themselves no opportunity to win that game whatsoever. It was a really, really bad performance. And 16-12 after all that, you know, look at the tackle count. They just had to do so much work, and it was all off the back of themselves, of the silly errors and silly penalties from themselves. They really let themselves down, and they let the jersey down tonight.
Mark Hine at the back, 15 runs for 142 metres, 4 line breaks. Was subbed at half-time for Sonny Tyre, who in comparison ran for only 79 metres. You know, half the amount of runs compared to Mark Iron, even though Iron obviously came back on in that second half. But 2 tries to Sonny Tyre, confidence or, you know, positive signs, you know, knowing that you do have someone at the back who can fill in if needed for the Raiders. But overall, disappointing from Canberra's point of view, but the Rabbitohs, they march on towards finals footy. Good performance from Liam Ryan at the back. Nothing too flashy once again, just consistent. But for me, Drake Dranigan, Logan Guys, really stepping up and putting a good foot forward.
Yeah, for sure. I think South Sydney now, they've just about locked up a finals berth, which is great for them and great for their club. They've got a big game next week against the Broncos, who are also in the hunt for the finals. So they've got a couple big games coming up before finals, so it's going to be really interesting to see how they go for the back end. But that was a good win from them. Good game control. They controlled the game in the wet to perfection, which will give their halves a lot of confidence as well.
The Rabbitohs away to the Broncos next week, and the Raiders away to the Panthers. But that's all we have time for here on Tuesday night in the SRL. Jack, thanks for joining me once again, and we'll see you all again tomorrow night here in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership.